Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the CKC channel. I'm your host, Video Master Klaasen, and welcome to Friday Openings Night. It's a special Friday Openings Night. We'll explain it to you in a moment. And also, welcome to our usual but special guest, Lance Windvogel. Welcome, Lance.
Hi, Calvin. It's always nice to be on your show. Friday night openings. Let's go.
Yes, indeed. And like I said, it's a special one this evening because I've promised you guys the themed tournaments. They are here. We are going to start with our first themed tournament this coming Sunday. I'm looking at 5 p.m. this coming Sunday. Hopefully, it doesn't clash with anything else. I mean, 5 p.m. lunch is at least your Sunday lunch should be halfway halfway, how shall I say, digested. So you should be okay. And I think some of the viewers said last time that these arena tournaments, these international arena tournaments that they participate in, only starts at like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. So hopefully that's a good time. Let us know if you have any clashes or anything like this. But the team tournaments, like I said, will start this Sunday. You must be part of the CKC online team. You can just join the team. You can click on my profile, Calvin K. Chess. I wonder if my thing still works. Yeah, I should test it out and post the link in the chat. But most of you are already part of the CKC team. All you need to do to play in this themed tournament is just be part of the team. Once you're part of the team, there's no entry fee. So you just come and play. And it's all about the training, basically. This is what I learned a long time ago, that even when I heard of the Bodovnik School of Chess Alliance, with Gary Kasparov mentioning that they used to play a lot of training games, and with these training games, Bodovnik used to tell them to annotate their games.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need to select your opening, like we're going to do, and basically just train in it. So this is
No,
going to be like a training
it's.
thing for us.
I mean, it's quite instrumental, man. Even recently with this last candidates tournament, I think it was Gruschuk against Giri,
Yeah,
and even Gruschuk even said the specific line that Giri played against him. He played the specific thing against Anand, and
exactly.
it helped him a lot to really blitz the moves. So training games are very important. If you know your openings, the best way is always to play in a fixed opening in that specific tournament, and it helps a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I recall Giri also. Okay, Giri was quite nice. Still talking after the game, he was saying that he gave a couple of things that kind of contributed to him losing the game. Obviously was he felt like he had to win or something like this. I don't particularly think that he had to win, but he felt the pressure. And he also said that he a couple of times he said that he just didn't understand the position as well as he should have. Of course, because he played something that he doesn't usually play. So usually something you haven't played a lot, you don't understand that well. So even after playing it, how many times have you experienced it, or I've experienced it, Lance, where if you test out something new at a tournament, then you lose, and then I'm like, oh, I felt it already. Okay, I tested out a new opening, and I'm like, yo, after this one game, I know my opening much better, and I would love to play it again. So this is for training, and I think what we will add, by the way, this themed tournament will be an arena tournament. So we will play for about an hour, and then we see who's got the most points afterwards. I will be streaming it, so you guys can find yourself also playing in the event. I'll also play in the event myself, but I won't be as strict on myself. I'll play, and I'll hover around and look at other people's games and give some commentary. And then afterwards, yeah, we can analyze a few of the subscribers' games. So if there's any subscribers playing, then we will analyze one or two or maybe three subscribers' games from that event. So in that way, everybody gets to learn from this opening. Um, and yeah, so that's our goal for Sundays, 5 p.m. If you are in the chat, feel free to suggest a theme. This is the evening we will kind of try to decide. And this Friday openings will be the main day that we decide our opening for Sunday. So we will discuss the opening. You get to know it, and we play it on Sunday. And tonight we will decide that. So yeah. Any ideas your side, Lance? What would you like? Can you give us a couple of suggestions maybe? What can we perhaps play this coming Sunday?
This coming Sunday depends also.
Opening
I don't know
wise.
how the viewers feel. Depending if are they D4 mostly, E4 players.
I'm gonna go down the line and say half and halfway. So and I mean this will be a weekly thing, so I mean we can cover basically everything.
I mean,
So
if I was always looking at like openings that's very versatile or dynamic, maybe I would be looking at openings like maybe we can play. They can play the Namzo Indian, maybe, which is a nice opening to play. You can have different setups, of course, in it if we're looking at the Namzo Indian. Also, depending if you want a specific defensive opening, whether you're looking at a Caro-Kann or the French players.
yeah, I think at
I mean,
one of my recent streams I talked about
Sicilians, I
Caro-Kann.
think.
Yeah, so Sicilian, of course, will be one of the main things as well, and so I'm expecting a Najdorf or something like this soon as well. Might be the first one, maybe not, but let's see how it goes this evening, and if we get some suggestions, then maybe we can get to a conclusion. So yeah. But what can we start with this for now, Lance? What I think you were on for openings night at some point as well. What did we look at last time? What can we look at this evening? Do you have anything specific that you want to discuss?
Yeah, I think the last time we looked at the Scotch, but I think we can look at something else today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of looking at something else. Maybe we could look at Sicilian this time.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we can look at a Sicilian, but we can look at maybe I mean, Dragon. People don't play Dragon that much anymore.
The Dragon, I think we have covered the Dragon, but okay, we've covered most of the openings already on the Friday openings night, so we can have a look at that again if you have something specific in the Dragon in mind.
Yeah. No. I would maybe I was maybe gonna look at the Najdorf because there's so many variations in the Najdorf.
I think maybe we can do the Najdorf. How about we do the Najdorf for our first Sunday? Or let's start off if there's someone that has other suggestions, but we can start off with the Najdorf, Lance. I think that's a good idea. So let's go to our study and let's maybe flip the board around so that we can see it from the black side. Let me just make sure that okay. And yeah, so e4 c5. Okay, so I guess we're gonna do main line. d6 d4.
We can always look at when maybe they deviate but let's just keep it solid with h6 first.
Okay, so this is our start. So in this themed tournament, if we decide on the Najdorf, this will be the position we will see for every start of the game, Lance. So it will be white to play, and then white can basically decide how many setups does white have here.
I mean, that's what I wanted to say. That's why it would be a nice fixed tournament, because if you look at white's responses, white can play f4 in the position. White can play the very testy bishop g5.
Please make the moves there for us so that we can see.
Okay, yeah, you can play the move, very aggressive move, bishop g5.
I believe maybe that's the ancient main line.
This one is very, very aggressive. Another move, sorry about that.
No worries. Okay, that's e4 e5.
e4 e5.
Are you in the right? Let's just check. Yeah. In fact, let's just promote the Sicilian. For some reason, I had e5 there. Yeah.
Is it? Okay. I don't know where I went wrong.
So let's just.
I
just want to delete these other moves, Lance. Delete. Yeah. Okay. Bishop. Okay. So after a6.
So after a6, instead of playing bishop g5 in this position, a very normal move as well is to play bishop e3 as well.
Uh-huh.
And of course, then black will have options here of either playing the move e6 you can play, or e5, which would be my recommendation. But I mean, there's other moves you can also play.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, this is like with the bishop e3. That's like going way back to my start as well with Kasparov and Anand playing a lot of those long casting variations. Okay, Kasparov played e6, but this e5 is also quite popular.
Yeah, I mean, with e6, you always e6 is a bit more flexible. You're not really committing yourself. But I mean, it depends on which structure you prefer.
You prefer, yeah. So there's bishop g5, bishop e3. What else?
Yeah, bishop e3. We can, if your opponent really wants to be aggressive, but I mean, you can also play f4. It is also a possibility, but you might just be wary of this diagonal.
Yeah. I faced this move f4, I think at the zonals in Mozambique a couple of years ago. I think it was it Munenga that played that against me? A strong player from Zambia played f4 against me. So I mean, it's definitely possible. It a lot of times transposes. I guess with f4, it's not committing yourself too much. You could play bishop e2 and bishop e3.
I mean, if you play f4, I mean, a normal move in this position would be to play, I don't know,
e6, or I know a move is queen c7 as well. I know queen c7 in this position is also possible because you're trying to stop e5. And then later on, you can decide e5 or e6.
I mean, you could even play the move e5 here as well.
Definitely. So black has his options here against f4.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, that's now if you feel like playing that. But as I said, for me personally, if I don't like this move so much. It is playable, very aggressive, but it's a very critical variation. If you're playing openings like this, you must really know your story.
Yeah, no, Najdorf is definitely something you need to know well. So,
and also another move, instead of playing f4 or bishop g5 or bishop e3, I remember when I used to play against Sicilians, and I was a bit conservative and I was a bit wary of these lines. I would always play moves like bishop e2.
Yeah, I mean that's my favorite one. A la Karpov. A la Karpov.
Just to cut all tactics complications and just keep it solid. But it's
well, I wouldn't say it cuts out complications. If you look at the world champs match, Karpov and Kasparov, there was chaos. So there's still some danger with short casting, but definitely more solid than the long casting stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit more. It's just a bit more solid. The bishop is not. It's well placed there on e2 as well. But yeah, that's another move you can play, and of course. Another move that one of Bobby Fischer's favorites was, of course, bishop c4.
Bishop c4. What do you call this? The Souzen or?
Yeah, Souzen, yeah.
Belerin Mirovic or something like that. I know Watu also enjoys playing this one. Very aggressive. Yeah. Sacrifices happening sometimes on e6.
Yeah, and white will now, this bishop is very dangerous there, and then it's quite reasonable for black to respond with a move like e6, just cutting that bishop in the diagonal and try to develop. For instance, after e6, maybe if bishop back and then knight over there, and then maybe can castle maybe.
Something interesting that I want to show you now. That's an interesting move order. But if you go back slightly to now yeah, the bishop b3 is the main move, knight b7 and castle. In fact, I had this position knight c5 with against I think it was Donovan van den Heever in my first essay closed, and the whole point is we want to get rid of the bishop immediately.
I mean that. Yeah, right. And Calvin, also the nice thing about the knight on c5, I mean, you don't have to immediately take the bishop. You can just keep it there. Anytime if it gets a bit too hot in the kitchen,
yes, exactly.
You can just snap it off.
Yes, exactly. So that's an interesting line. I think the game went something like this. takes, bishop e7, e5, and yeah, draw was reached pretty soon. But then a couple of years later, Lance, at the SA Open, can't remember which year, then I played against another aggressive player that loves playing the bishop c4 line, Nicholas van der Nat. So
Yeah.
after e6, he went castling instead of bishop b3. Now bishop b3, like we said, is the main move. And then I continued casually with my knight b7, and then I didn't even drop my knight yet, Lance, and bishop takes e6 came.
Of course, that's standard procedure.
Yeah, so bishop takes e6 came, and I was like, whoa, okay, this is not the okay, so there's a difference between castling and bishop b3. Good evening, Boom Shaka, welcome. And after bishop takes e6, I had to take, and then what did I do? I think I played, was it queen b6?
Queen b6 maybe.
I think I played queen b6, yeah. I think it's queen b6, and then he went very fast, by the way. He went knight to d5.
Yeah. I mean, this is also. I mean, he would know this as well. I mean, it's
he was whipping.
Clear, but White has more play.
He was whipping this out, and I'm like, whoa! I don't want to lose the game immediately, so I was taking my time, and okay, the I think the evaluation is probably around equal or something, but it's very difficult to face this as black. But what happened was eventually I drew the game. I managed to actually survive this attack.
Is it? Oh, that's interesting.
And I had I mean, there's always practical problems here to solve from the black point of view, but eventually I survived that and eventually drew. So, but this is just one example of
yeah, you must just watch out. I mean, if the bishop goes if we just go back,
yeah,
the bishop's on c4, you must just always watch out, be very wary of the what you call the tactic on e6.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, that's also a dangerous variation. What else? Another one that I can point out, Lance, that I've used on occasion was after a6 just g3. I think Anish Giri also has used it a couple of times, but I used it long time ago, before I even knew of Anish Giri. But I mean, there's lots of people that use it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. So what do you play after the normal e5?
I was gonna say e6 is normal, but e5 is also probably nowadays more popular than e6. The knight usually goes to e2.
Yeah.
And then sometimes after something like this,
I mean, you could also play,
h3.
I like the other idea for White is to play h3 and g4, yeah.
Exactly. So that would be White's idea, to get the knight to g3. But Black also has counterplay. Sometimes Black doesn't even castle, he goes b5 much earlier on bishop e7, stuff like this. So g3 is also an option. Of course, the idea behind g3 is, if Black goes e6, then sometimes we get a nice version of that bishop e2 line where after something like let's say a4, queen c7, and bishop e3, let's say something like this, f4, and then Black, let's say rook e1, king h1, and say Black goes
bishop d7 maybe, and
knight b3, threatening a5 and b6, and then g4. And if you look at what happened here, it's like that bishop e2 line, but White didn't play bishop e2 and bishop f3 and bishop g2. So then we transpose into something that you saw at the World Champs, but maybe with a tempo or two up for White. Just something interesting. But of course, Black doesn't need to just follow that procedure. First of all, he can play e5. But yeah, is that about it, or what else can we say about this position? g3 is there, f4. Okay, even the move f4 immediately, a4, sorry, not f4, a4 immediately is also possible.
a4 immediately is also playable. I mean, some players don't like, for instance, if you play a move, say like bishop c4, maybe, I don't know. Could you play something like it? Some players can play moves like b5.
Okay, you could play a4 as a prophylactic measure, but I think it's not that great. White will just go bishop b3.
Yeah.
And probably you'll have to transpose something like e6 afterwards. Because b4 knight d5 is good for white. Yeah. And then also I saw in my lifetime, I saw that I've seen moves like, for instance, I think it's knight b3 or is it a3? I've seen some weird moves. Knight b3 has been played.
I mean, I don't know, would a3 make sense if you play d6, maybe with e6? I don't know, with a3.
And of course, there's the sharper lines, for instance. I think there's this rook g1. I don't know if it's a huge line, but rook g1 has been played with the idea of g4. That's an idea. And I think it was it David Silva from Angola that played. He played something slow against me. He played. I think the point of a3 would be if black goes e6, then you go something like g4.
Yeah, then it's a bit of a Keras attack.
Yeah, so then we wait for this bishop to get blocked. But of course, black could have played e5, and then an a3 move is maybe not so useful. But a3 is useful in general to stop b4. So plenty of options over there. So I think this would be a nice one to start the theme tournament with, because basically white can still decide a lot of things, and black needs to be ready for everything.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm just gonna go through a quick this line, which is quite popular. I see this a lot when one plays online, and there's some specific variations that gets played over and over again. And if you're gonna play the Najdorf, you need to really understand how to play against the dangerous short attack.
Yeah.
For instance, after a move like bishop e3, if you do play the e5 move, knight goes back, bishop, develop, f3, and then you play then the bishop to e6. And now, normally in this position, your opponent would play a move queen d2, tying to long castle.
Yeah.
And then you can now wait in this position. You can either play the move
knight b7,
knight d7, or I just want to show you something. With this is what I sometimes would get my opponents.
Yes.
If I castle and then they start this thing.
Yeah. Standard procedure.
And normally, if they're a bit in a hurry with the attack, then you can
strike.
You can meet them with the attack in the center, and this happens a lot. I have to say, this specific setup happens. It's very popular because now you're kind of forcing your opponent now into.
And if pawn to g5.
Yeah. Pawn to
g5. Show us what happens.
I mean, you can even play knight takes e4 if you wanted to, or you can just play the move.
After pawn takes f6, then bishop takes f6.
Yeah, takes f6.
And black is doing great.
Yeah. And black is fine. So you've already equalized. Black is even better here. What is an advantage?
Okay, interesting stuff. So there's things can go wrong. That's the thing about the Najdorf, actually, that it's a fighting opening, and things can go wrong very quickly for white if he's not.
Yeah, and it's not just that. If you look at the pawn structure, what I like about the Najdorf, if you look at these pawns over here, this is why I enjoy the Najdorf. You have a lot of safety there, the 4 pawns, where if you look at white's position, it's not looking too good there with these pawns he has there. So most of the time, okay, this is now a different tactic that I played here, but in most lines you will always find you will have more pawn cover.
Yeah, and
to whites.
They also say that okay, this is just a general thing, and that might not always be the case, but they also say that usually the end games, black usually prefers the end games according to the structure, pawn structure, because white usually expands a lot. White tries to go for your throat, And then the more pawns you push, it's nice and attacking in the middle game, but in end game, yeah, the further your pawns get pushed, the weaker they get eventually. So also something to consider. So yeah, there's a lot of options. What line are we gonna go into a bit more? We've done a broad cover.
I think what we could do as well, I don't know, do you just want to look at the opening, or you maybe want to look at a specific game?
We can even look at a game. Yeah, a game would be nice. Don't know if you have any game in mind.
I have actually a specific game that I actually found quite entertaining.
Would you be able to upload it for us onto the study? All you need to do is save it as a PGN, the game, from your chess base or wherever. If you have the PGN, then we can upload it onto the study. I'm not at home right now, so I don't have my chess base with me.
Oh, okay. Let me just see if I can find it here. It's a game between, it was in this recent tournament. I think it was in a Tata Steel. Tata Steel, Magnus Carlsen versus...
Was it one of...
what's it? The Russian, that young Russian, Yesipenko.
Yeah. Oh, Yesipenko got a nice victory there.
Yeah. And okay, it went wrong in that game over there.
That's actually a nice example, yeah, that we can have a look at.
Yeah, it was a very sharp, and that's one of the things as well. Sometimes, if you don't know your story, the white can thrash you immediately. You can lose very quickly as well. So it's not just saying black and have a nice solid setup. It's
you know what? I'm gonna try to see if I can't find that game. I think I can check on chess.com perhaps. They got this new feature. It's quite nice, library.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get there quick. Maybe I can download a PGN and then get it onto our study. Yeah, so you can save your own databases, and you can also, there's community collections where there's lots of databases. There's one with my 60 memorable games. This is the first one actually from Bobby Fischer. But yeah, maybe I'm not gonna find that game under here. I'm thinking about that. But there's other games as well under World Championships. Maybe I should search Najdorf. Let's just check Najdorf. Maybe we'll find something interesting. Let's see. Okay, there's quite a few games here under a folder, Sicilian Najdorf. Klaasen 2019 playing against Aronian. This might be your alley. Yeah, let's just download this thing quick. Let's see if I can download it. Yes, it's in PGN. I'm gonna just quickly upload it, Lance. Okay, so let's just go to our study. And okay, but why did it not ask me for, did I miss something here, guys? Let's just try this again. Add chapter, PGN. Choose file. Okay, let's just see. Yeah, almost there. Just give me 2 more seconds, guys. Okay, here we go. Create chapter. Nice. Okay, so here's a game for us. Let's just flip the board around. Okay, I don't know if I know this game, Lance, but we can have a quick look at it. I think it's right up your alley.
Let's have a look.
So let's see. So this is Levon Aronian with the white pieces versus Magnus Carlsen. 2019. What tournament was this? The Grand Chess Tour, Tata Steel. Aha, Tata Steel 2019. So this is 2 years ago. Okay, so let me just check if everything is in place. Yeah. D6 takes. Knight F6, Knight C3, A6, F3, and E5. Okay, Knight B3. This is your stuff you just showed. Bishop E3. Okay, so Magnus goes Knight BD7 immediately. I think that kind of allows this G4 idea. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why Levon goes G4. Bishop E7. Very topical stuff here. This was like super popular. Maybe we can just pause here for a moment. And Lars, can you maybe just give us an overview of the plans here for both sides? So that the viewers can know what to do if they're in a situation like this. Obviously, with long castling, we try to see who's going to get to who's king first, but how do we go about it? What's the general plans?
Yeah, okay, the general plan in this position, of course, you know that when you are castling opposite sides, you know that it's going to be very sharp and time is very important here. White wants to play F4 and try to open up the G and H file, and of course Black needs to attack the queen side, trying to open up the B and A file of one of the, just to try and attack. So Black is playing on the queen side, and White is playing on the king side. But it's very important. Timing is very important, as I said. I keep stressing that part. So,
okay, so both sides are pushing their pawns, basically.
Yeah, both sides are pushing their pawns. Yes. So it's so important in these types of positions. If your opponent is attacking you, say on the king side, and try to distract your opponent a bit on the queen side. Try to maybe force your opponent to making moves on the queen side. So it keeps your opponent busy, and then you can sharpen your attack that way.
Okay.
But let's go through the game. But besides even that, in this position also, what is very important when you're playing the move E5.
What about just after you are done, Lance? Maybe just like the pieces for Black. Where do they go on the queen side and so on?
Okay.
You can also just.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, in this position, Black's pieces. First of all, White, they're fighting for the square over here, the D5. If Black somehow one day can get the D5 square in,
D5 break.
If White can somehow plant the knight on D5 without the bishop capturing, that would be very good for White. If I can get control over the D5 square.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, that is covered by the knight on F6 and the bishop on E6. And the knight, you have options here. We're playing Black by moving knight to F6 in this position,
B6.
to B6, trying to maybe swing it then to either C4 or A5, especially C4.
Yeah.
In this position. So that's some of the plans in this position.
And A8 rook, probably C8. You occupy the half open file.
Yeah, you can play rook c8 in this position, or you can play the move knight. I think you can maybe play knight b6, but preferably in this position, your b5 looks very normal.
So yeah, no thanks, Lars, for that one. In fact, I just want to show the viewers maybe if we make a couple of bad moves here for the one side. Ideally, let's say White went queen d2 and we go bishop e7 and White long castles and castles, and let's say White goes king. Let's say White plays a couple of silly moves. Like you said, we're fighting for the d5 square. Right now White has 1, 2, 3 and a fourth guy over there hitting the d5 square, and on the other hand we've got the bishop and the knight, and we know that this square is technically a weak square for Black because there's no pawn that can defend the square, right? Yeah. So in the perfect world, White would like you said, to have a piece on d5 unhindered, but right now White goes to d5, then Black can capture it with the bishop or the knight, and then White will be forced to capture back with the pawn, and the pawn will sit on d5, and then the square is gone. and it can't be
Yeah,
used
and
by
it'll
white
be
anymore.
very convenient for black.
Yeah,
There'll be no pressure anymore.
exactly. So, and on the other hand, you said that the d5 break would be nice for black too. So let's say black goes b5 like you said, and let's say white plays a silly move like king a1, and this move b4 would also help to fight for that square. So
Exactly.
the knight, we hinder the knight. So if the knight first of all goes in, we can then capture, let's say knight or bishop. Let's say even say knight.
Capture
Let's
maybe,
even say
and
knight.
then
So now the queen couldn't take, and okay, the bishop is well placed. Maybe a bishop takes would be
no,
easier,
bishop take would be better in the
and then we can
position, and then
just
you can just
roll
carry
on.
your
But
back.
but the whole point is now white can't use that square anymore, and this pawn is not classified as a weak pawn anymore because the file has been closed. So this would be ideal for black. But and let's say white goes somewhere like after b4, white goes knight e2, also very timid, and because white hasn't pushed g4 or threatening
Now,
g5,
of course, now you can play the move d5.
and
You
then
must
we get
always
this
look out if you can play the move d5.
this thematic break. So this is essentially the dream that black wants to achieve. One of his dreams, always to try and get d5 into Sicilian is always nice to get in. So after takes and takes, we see black's pieces really starting to find shape here. The knight can also join somewhere, and this pawn is still marching up, and black is looking really nice. And on the other hand, if you look at black's piece, white's strategy, white could push g4 and g5, trying to dislodge this guy that is controlling. And once he moves back, then white has more options of jumping in even later on. So that's, I think, the strategical battle. I mean, black, like you said, is also trying to open up things, and white on the other hand is trying to open up things over here. So a very fascinating strategic battle on our hands here. So how to continue here? Oh yeah, so actually we were looking at a game here. Let's see how
Yeah,
this
but we
game
were
went.
also looking at the game as well, and I mean, Calvin, if you're gonna play an opening like this, it's very important to know these positions, because you see it quite often. I mean, if you play this opening, whether it's top GMs playing it or amateurs, you will find the specific positions. The GMs, of course, they just handle it better, and they of course come up with some improvements.
Yeah, and they're a bit more refined with their play. But I mean, the dangerous thing here, I would say from the black point of view, is everything that white has done is not particularly spectacular yet. Anybody under the sun with that has played it but can kind of make these moves for white. So you're gonna have to be on high alert and very sharp in these type of openings. So let's see what happened in the game. Let's see what happened in the game. So pawn to b5, Magnus playing with the black pieces. Just a reminder, guys, and Aronian with the white pieces. Started still in 2019. Pawn to g5, and here we already see this fight happening. And Magnus goes knight h5. I think there's also a line where they go knight e8 lance, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, knight e8. I think the knight wants to go to c7.
It can go to c7 later on, yes. And for now, it's also just holding that. So
yeah,
I think
it, and then you just set your sights on the queen side.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is also a move.
T5.
I think this could also be a move. Takes. If you take here, the queen is hanging with check. So then takes, and then you can take back. Maybe knight takes. So this should be good for black. That's why after b4, usually they would move the knight, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it should be good, but I mean, maybe sometimes you don't want to have these unclear positions. Maybe, I mean, Klaasen maybe just wanted to avoid.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to avoid the main lines. And I've got a feeling that this was super popular. I think Topalov or someone had and Karyakan also played this a lot. I think there were quite a lot of games played in this. So anyways, but Magnus decides to go knight h5 immediately. The knight on h5 also very irritating for white. I mean, the knight is covering some squares over here. He's blocking this h pawn. So white needs to dislodge the knight. How are we going to do that? Sometimes f5 is also possible. Sometimes black can even throw the knight in and ask white to capture and then white loses his dark squared bishop. So can be problems for him long term. So yeah, let's continue. So knight h5 was played. King b1, a safe move, always a useful move in these types of positions.
Yeah, and another typical, okay, yeah, the move that Magnus plays, I also like it. It's a very typical maneuver, this.
You mentioned knight b6 earlier, yes. So
yes, and of course the knight is now looking at c4 and yeah, especially the c4 square.
Yeah, going to c4, sometimes a4, also controlling b5.
As well.
So all in all, a good move. Sometimes white has to just take that knight with his bishop. But in this game, Aronian goes knight to a5. Ooh, okay. I've seen this knight a5 a lot, but with the pawn already on d5. Maybe he's preparing knight d5, because once something takes, then you have the square for the knight.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unpleasant for black. I mean, if you had to lose that square on c6.
Yeah.
If knight c6 now, it's, yeah. You can't allow that.
Welcome to Isvan. Isvan says, greetings coach and Lance. I have been watching all along. Very interesting game. Okay, good to see you here, Isvan. Lance Isvan also one of our, in fact, he's our latest subscriber. He subscribed for 3 months. So we were saying, I don't know, Isvan, if you were here from the start, but Lance, I think we're gonna choose this one for Sunday, right? I think this is just got too much. It's so rich. The opening is so rich, like everybody still has a say. Even if you don't play the Najdorf, you'll enjoy the arena tournament. So
I mean, there's play for both sides in this position. I mean, it's a lot of flexibility, and if you even look at this position, all of the minor pieces are still on the board.
But and by the way, we won't force you to long castle. I mean, the position will start at after a6. So I mean, one can still short castle if you want to. But like you said, it's plentiful of ideas here. Lots of ideas, and it's just fun to play the Najdorf. At some point, you must test it out. So I hope you will also be playing Isvan. We're planning it for 5 p.m. on Sunday. Please tell everybody it's open to everyone. Arena tournament for 1 hour, so 5 p.m. till 6 p.m. And
so Kelvin, so what is happening? The winner of the tournament.
So for now, I think what I have in mind, Lance. Okay, first of all, we're just training. So this is good for everybody. Benefits from training, and we are going to analyze about 2 or 3 games after the event. I will also be playing myself in the event. And I will bounce around to other games, so you can see yourself on stream also playing at some point. And for now, there's no prize money, just training available. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna take stock of the standings, and I think the top 3 players will get some Grand Prix points. So maybe after our first season of themed tournaments, we can. I'm figuring it out, but we will try to get some awards, some prizes for the Grand Prix winners of these themed tournaments. So prizes to be announced, but for now, no cash prizes, only training. And of course, we will analyze the games for our subscribers as well. So yeah, I think it's good. I think I don't do this as much myself, so I think this will help you. And maybe what we should also do, Lance, I'm gonna try to figure out the schedule perhaps, and then you can see when to join if you're unsure. Maybe you see, okay, in 2 weeks time we're gonna do the French, and then you get yourself ready for the French or whatever the case is.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think having a specific schedule for the allocated tournaments maybe, and then this way you can have a feel for playing different openings as well.
And this is
it's good. No, I want to say it's very good sometimes to play openings you don't normally play, so that you can have a feel for different positions. It's going to be uncomfortable. You might even lose games and stuff like that, but it sharpens your overall game.
Yeah, exactly. And you pick up new ideas, and you can only get better. So So yeah, maybe you discover that you should have been playing this opening all your life, and you've been playing the French your whole life. And meantime, there's something like a Najdorf, or vice versa. So anyways, and by the way, guys, this will be a weekly arena tournament themed. This is now part of our CKC channel. But what I can say is next weekend, Lance, we have the Western Province Open. And I'm most likely going to play in that one. It's going to be my first event back over the board. I think my last event that I played over the board was the Western Province Open last year. I think I came joint second there. So yeah, should be interesting. I will obviously cover the event as well. So if you're interested, if you are not playing in the West Province Open, or if you will be playing, I will cover my own games and whatever games I can also get hold of. So we will have a tournament recap of that. So yeah. So just pointing that out. This Sunday we're having a themed event, but we're gonna have to see then following week where we can squeeze it in, or if we're gonna skip it over to the next weekend. So yeah. Anyway, so back to the game, Lance. Knight a5 has just been played. So let's see what is Levon's idea here. How's Magnus, the world champ, gonna proceed? Rook to c8, typical move. So what Black has done thus far has been pretty logical, right? b5, he's placed the knight on b6, like you said. He's put the rook on c8, and he had to move the knight because it got chased to h5. But besides knight h5, everything looks pretty standard stuff. Right?
Yeah, I even think even in this position, I think maybe they might even still be in their preparation. Yeah.
Could be, yes, most likely. I mean, these guys are super GMs. So pawn to a3, not the move that you usually would play. You mentioned White doesn't want to play really moves on the queen side, as Black doesn't want to in general play on the king side. But a3 sometimes is a good prophylactic move, stopping the kick of the knight of c3.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about knight b6 in this position is that it kind of threatens that b4 move, because that forces you to maybe play knight d5 or having to move the knight back, and that is why knight b6 is so potent in this position.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ask you, Lance, maybe if we didn't know who's who here, maybe it would have been a bit more fair question, but who would you prefer in this position? Like just from an aesthetic point of view.
No, the reason I will tell you why I would prefer this position is not because of Klaasen is playing maybe Black or whatever. I would prefer this position because first of all, if I look at the position, Black's pieces are, I think, a bit more closer to White's king. The rook and the knight, it's a bit easier for Black to play, and also the knight on h5 is kind of blocking White's attack. So I feel that Black has got a hold on things defending White's attack, whereas White, it's not so clear.
Okay, so definitely you prefer Black. I would also probably prefer Black just because I'm a very natural Sicilian player, but nothing wrong with White's position. On the other hand, you can also kind of realize that Aronian is not the most natural e4 player. So Aronian also recently started playing e4. I think you get to a certain point in your life where you just want to play different things. Aronian has been playing his e4 stuff for oh so long. So that's something to. But I mean, these guys are super strong. They can play anything. But yeah, and in general, I short castle in the Sicilian. So what do I know? But let's continue. A3 was played, and Magnus goes g6, a move on the king side. So what is his idea here, Lance, with g6?
I mean, with g6 in this position, it's just keeping things solid. I mean, it's just making sure that it's blocked for possible attacks against the king.
It's a deep move.
Also,
I'm not too sure.
The knight can always go back. It's just
knight
giving
could
him
go back, but the knight, like you said, is a nice blockade of the attack. So I'm not too sure why g6 here. It seems a bit more sound with the knight there. Black can sometimes play f5, so maybe just to secure the knight a bit longer. Sometimes when you play f5 and en passant happens and bishop takes, then you want to have a the G file blocked, so to speak. So interesting move. Let's see, maybe it will reveal itself soon. Pawn to h4 played. White plays a typical move. Sometimes white can play. Now this, if you guys have noticed, the bishop hasn't really participated yet in the game. He is covering that square though. That might be important. I was gonna say he could go over there to try and trade off this bishop. Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but that could be a possibility. Looks a bit strange. I mean, this knight is doing such a great job. This pawn, why would white play h4? Maybe he has this in mind or something. Let's see what happens. So
well, of course, in this you maybe want to play maybe say bishop h3 and trying to get rid of the defender, but I mean you're not going to want to exchange on h3 with the bishop because that will leave the d5 square.
Exactly. So okay, standard move h4, and Magnus jumps in knight g3. One would think that you want to keep the knight over there. Oh, by the way, something like you mentioned, Lance, black wouldn't want to trade, so maybe white can think of playing this and that at some point. I don't know if it's too slow, but that's also an idea. But Magnus goes ahead and jumps in with knight g3, immediately hitting the rook. Is he gonna take the bishop? Probably. I don't see why else. The knight has to take, and it takes.
I mean, now with the bishop gone, suddenly you have more control over your light squares.
And Magnus now plays knight a4. Very interesting move here, Lance. With Magnus jumping around with his knights on the edge, trying to get rid of this guy.
Now. That's a very clear strategy. And open up lines.
And okay, he receives double pawns, but there's some lines open here. This bishop is beaming down there. This bishop can potentially also open up over there. So interesting stuff. Aronian goes ahead with h5.
In this position, Calvin is too sharp. I mean, even though black has got double pawns in this position, I mean, it doesn't really matter here. It's about activity and it's about time. So white has to try and open up lines here as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Because those bishops are just lurking at that white king.
Exactly. So Isvan says perhaps g6 is to stop a sack so that the g file becomes open. Yeah, I also glanced at that idea, Isvan. Lance, sometimes in these Sicilians, sometimes white can play, let's say black didn't go g6, let's say black did something else, something random, let's say rook b8, whatever. Okay, rook b8, that allows knight c6. Let's play a more normal move here. Say, oh, I'm blundering everything. Let's say king h8. Say king h8. Sometimes you have this typical sack as well as a possibility. Yeah, maybe not so possible because of this is usually it happens with the pawn on e6. Yeah, it might just help black. So I'm not sure, Isvan, if that was the real reason, but I mean it stops g6 permanently. So anyways, going back, so Magnus takes the bishop pair. He takes double pawns, but he has the bishop pair. Queen to d7 played. What is his idea? Yeah, is he gonna go queen b5 next? Maybe rook b8.
b5 maybe. And
rook h1. And Aronian now keeping an eye. And there's a huge danger of queen h2, of course. So the queen on d7, maybe it wants to defend on the 7th rank. So rook f e8 played, very nice move. So if queen h2 comes, then this is the thematic defense here. Bishop f8, and there we see the queen defending via the 7th rank. Beautiful stuff. So Magnus had to foresee this attack coming. Okay, it's not rocket science, but you need to be very aware of what your opponent is up to. So if captures, and we will play f takes, and the queen is defending via the 7th rank. Oh, Isvan says maybe earlier on. Okay. I mean, I think it is a possibility, that g6 idea. So anyways, bishop f8 played, and the question is, how should white continue? It seems like white's attack isn't really getting anywhere, Lance.
Yeah, it's tough. It's quite slow.
You can open up the h file halfway, but you can't get in. And now the question is, I just want to know, what is this guy doing there on a5? He seems very lonely. He seems very lonely. I mean, a move like queen b5 can already kind of ask a real question here to the knight. So it seems like white's attack has gone a bit dry here, and now white played bishop d2. Okay, covering the bishop. And Magnus plays rook c7. Why rook c7? I think it's multi-purpose. What do you think about that move, Lance?
I think, yes, he wants to defend h7 and then relieve the duty, maybe playing queen b5, something like that.
Yeah, so it releases the queen from the duty of defending
Defending
h7.
the 7th.
And of course, it's also a typical maneuver to include the other rook into the game.
Yes.
So beautiful stuff. Rook c7, bishop b4. Let me just check here. Let's just get our other music going here, guys. Let's start from the beginning. Yep. Okay, so bishop b4 played, and rook b8 anyway. Okay, there's a bit of pressure down here still. Rook d3. Interesting move. So white is now playing a bit more prophylactic here. You would love to see the rook go there one day, but the bishop is kind of covering it. And Magnus plays the typical move we had in mind. How is black gonna break through? What is black playing next here? Ah, I see something. Or maybe. What could black be threatening here, Lance?
Let's see.
I think there's some pressure on the b file. I mean, black is screaming out mate on b2. So the bishop is the only guy that's stopping mate. So
Only the bishop, but how do you get the bishop out the way? Do you play?
I think maybe our bishop on f8 has something to say about that.
Yeah. Is it possible to play d5 or not?
I don't know. I think it's just an idea.
On e5, so
I don't know if it's immediately possible, but maybe d5 is a possibility at some point. This one says queen now free. Yes, the queen is free. So, but I mean, what is Magnus maybe planning now after queen b5? Let's say d5. Let's just investigate here. Let's say white plays king a1. Say d5, and you're saying white needs to take this pawn. I'm not.
No.
Completely convinced.
I just said it's open. They maybe don't want to get distracted, something like that.
White can't play c3, unfortunately, because the rook is hanging.
c4 could be very dangerous.
c4. Oh, because you want to distract the rook.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can play bishop takes.
c4.
And then queen takes.
Queen takes, but then can't you then play rook c3 after that?
Okay, so c4 takes, and rook c3. Aha.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks good for white.
Yeah, I think he can't do that. So
So
you
you
have to be
can't take-
careful with
So
that.
why did Ronya not play c4 here? What are we doing? What are we doing in this position?
I mean, you have to play queen b6. Can't capture.
Queen b6. I guess we don't need to take. I mean, the c4 pawn will still be a target.
But I mean, yeah, white looks better. If white's king goes to to a8, and then suddenly white looks decent.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
Looks a bit safer. I mean,
Yeah, I think
but of
maybe
course,
white missed this idea c4. I like it. I like it. I like that idea. Anyways, yeah, no, I think that's quite a nice idea, Lance. But instead, Ronin played rook c3. So he's trying to swap off some active pieces. I kind of like your move better, c4. So Magnus doubles up. Takes.
the thing is, it's also a bit counterintuitive to look at something like that. But I mean, you have to defend, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought the rook is just defending, so why not swap off an active rook?
Yeah.
Not a horrible idea, but white's attack is dead, and here we see white swinging over back to rook d1, rook d7, protecting the weakness. Both players are still, I mean, it's not so easy to play. Bishop, finally the bishop can come back now since there's no mate. I think this is the plan, Lance.
Yeah, definitely. Like that maneuver.
Queen d2. Queen b6. Interesting. So Magnus hitting and defending at the same time. Queen c1 covering the check. Bishop d8. Still keeping an eye on the knight. c4, but too late, I think. Queen f2. Knight runs to c6. And yeah, here comes something interesting. Black to play. Black finds something nice here, guys. Black finds something really nice. I don't know who's watching here, guys. Maybe suggest something for black to play. Anybody got a move here for black? The bishop. Okay, white must maybe think about capturing that bishop.
It's a little tactic.
What pieces are hanging?
Are you asking me or the viewers?
Anybody. I mean, you can also give me an answer.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that the rook on d3 is not looking hot there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So the rook is hanging. And Magnus now continues. But bishop takes g5, distracting the queen. And after queen takes.
And then we fork.
So that's a neat little tactic. King c2. And yeah, Magnus does something interesting here. He goes bishop takes c4.
Yeah.
Is he going for mate or what's happening here? Why did he? Oh yeah, the rook is not hanging anymore. Wow, I'm a bit slow here. So he's
but I mean, it's a bit of a mating attack here because I mean the bishop can always go to what's it called, to b3 as well.
So
a lot of things up here.
What if white win the rook c3 here?
Oh, then definitely that move bishop b3.
Bishop b3, counter just sack.
Check.
Is queen d2 not better here? Not really, eh? Yeah, maybe bishop b3.
Bishop b3 takes, pawn takes, and then king takes, and then
take, yeah. This also drops.
There's a lot of pawns. We forgot about that now.
Yeah.
Look at the pawns.
Yeah, it looks good here for black. Looks good. Okay, so what happened was queen e3 played, takes, and he just swaps off. Okay, Magnus going into what he loves again. Fast end games. So well, black has got the advantage because of his pawns, and past pawns must be pushed. So h5, king to e3, get your king closer, typical in endgames. Magnus centralizes his king, and the rook is so nicely placed. He can also
and I mean those
the
pawns are connected there. It looks so inviting there.
And white is threatening a pawn, but Magnus is not interested in that. You know, Vero, I love this saying. Vero reminded me of it the other day, Lance. Victor Korsnoy said, time is money and pawns are not to be counted. So white is attacking that a6 pawn, but time is important. And yeah, Magnus just plays g5, continuing with his march. Rook f7, threatening g4, of course. And g2, g4 anyway. Okay, interesting stuff here by Magnus. Rook takes. Okay, so he's kind of looking at that guy as well. Levon placing the knight on a nice square and also covering that check. Rook g1, and the outside pass pawn with the rook is always dangerous. White is lacking pawns, that's the problem. Back, and this is beautiful to see, Lance. This is not so easy to convert.
It's not easy how it's cutting off the king, and of course now you have to defend.
The rook is terrorizing.
Switch over.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I like this. It's not easy. You know, from a young age, I realized that 2 pieces are stronger than the rook, but sometimes you can do this actually. It's a good sack here by Magnus. e5, knight tries to defend, the rook b3. The rook is really doing a great job. Finally, the king joins. And a sack happens. And we are gonna push through here. The white king, of course. Okay, so white is actually in a type of zugzwang here, Lance. Because
yeah, what can you play for black?
If it was black to play, then a white one maybe tried. Oh, okay, but that's just winning. I mean, white would love to get counterplay, but he can't move his bishop. He goes here, just loses more time. He wants to sack the bishop for the pawn.
Yeah.
But now the king d2 happens.
Yeah.
Magnus doesn't even go over there. Magnus doesn't go king g2, guys. Magnus actually goes king takes pawn. Wow, suffering continues. Everything all good there, your side, Lance?
No, apologies there. No
worries.
No, I just needed to guess. Can you just excuse me for 5 minutes? I'll be back.
Okay, cool. You can just mute yourself over there, and then we will finish this game. So long, guys.
Yeah, but I think my birds won't be loud. It's fine.
Okay, no. If you're sure there's no birds in the background, then it's all good.
Yeah, but it's still a bit chirpy. So yeah, I mean it's still light.
Okay. See you soon. Okay, so what happened next, guys? Magnus doing a beautiful sack there, and after king e2, we start pushing. Bishop g3, d4, bishop h2, king d5, and now the king is opening up for that and maybe coming in there. King d2, e4, king e2, king c4, and Magnus offering up that pawn, but of course then this guy will run through. So king d2, and of course if we take here now, then it's take with check. We're not gonna allow that. e3, king back. Don't think king here would have helped because the king can never take. This guy will run back. e3, and in fact after I think this move, just king c2 looks good. So yeah, Aronian just playing out a couple more moves here. King c4 and resign. Why? Because now the king can actually come back to support that with these guys keeping the white king at bay. Wow, what a game. What a game there by Magnus. I think white had his chances in the middle game, but the end game was played beautifully. Why did he move the knight? When was this? Isvan? We're gonna have to go back to the point where he did have a knight. When was this? This end game? Oh, do you mean in this situation? Because this is the only point where he moved his knight. Should perhaps go king g4. Oh, king g4. What do you mean in this position? King g4. I mean, black would probably give up the h pawn for the b pawn, and then the a pawn is super weak, and the e4 pawn is also a target. So I'm not sure that white can survive this either. It's like choosing the lesser of two evils, basically. So if this is more or less what you're referring to, something like this and that, and already something like this, you can pick up this guy. Which is also not nice at all. Not nice at all. So cool endgame there by Magnus, and that was Sicilian Najdorf, guys. Yeah. So just spread the word. Sunday we will have our themed arena event. I kind of decided now with Lance, we're gonna make it a Sicilian Najdorf. So if you haven't played one of these themed tournaments, every position will start every game that you play in this arena will start with this position. Let's just show. This is the position that every game will start. Whether you have the black pieces or the white pieces, that is what we will start with. So we will be training the Sicilian Najdorf this week. So just make sure you know your theory. Make sure you know your ideas. That's why we're discussing it now. We looked at an interesting line where white long castle, then black played e5, but of course e6 is also possible. I prefer putting the pawn on e6. So I actually just want to check, guys, if there's anything else. Another nice Najdorf game. We have a bit of time left. Let's check. Let's go back. Who else? Look, Van Veerle is over there. Grunfeld. Let's check out this Van Veerle game. Maybe he has something interesting to offer. Okay, this should be decent. It's not the longest game, so let's just quickly download this game and put it in the study. Let's do that. Okay, Lon, so I'm just downloading another game here that I'm gonna upload on the study again.
That's fine.
Let's
By the way, it's quite exciting, eh? Back, yeah, you guys in SA, you guys can play over the board tournament. That's fantastic.
Well, I mean, we're pretty new to it. We've only had, I think, 1 or 2 maybe maximum here in Western Province. I think in the other provinces, Lance, they've been playing a lot. So it's we're a bit cautious. But I mean, we chess players, we can't, at some point, I haven't played now for over a year, so at some point we're gonna have to try something. I know in Europe they've been also playing a bit, but you say it's not open there by your side.
Yeah, but I mean, it's only the professionals that, the super GMs that played in those tournaments there. But by us, it's we can't play it. We still are in lockdown here in Germany at the moment.
Yeah, no. I mean, we're all just hoping and praying that everything, you hear no cases or anything like this during the tournaments. So yeah. But anyways, I've got a game here for us also, guys. Maybe in the last how much we got? About a half an hour to go. Everything good your side, Lance? We still keep you for half an hour?
I have 20 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, 20 minutes is still good. 20 minutes is still good. So let's get going. This is our next game. White pieces is a grandmaster from Holland, or not Holland, the Netherlands. Roland Preissers. And he's playing against another grandmaster from the Netherlands, GM Luc van Veerle, famous GM. So let's see. So e4,
Calvin,
c5.
I wanted to ask you, am I included in the screen there?
Yeah, you're all good. We can see you quite clearly.
Okay,
can you see
I can't
me?
See it.
Yeah. Where are you looking? On Zoom, or where are you looking?
No, not on Zoom. On Twitch.
I see you nice and clearly. Maybe you should just refresh your Twitch or something. But maybe you should just refresh your Twitch.
Oh yeah, okay, no, just a bit delayed, I think.
Yep.
I'm quite delayed.
Okay. All right. So let's continue over here. So Preissers versus Van Veerle. I think Van Veerle, an exponent of the Najdorf for many years. A6, Bishop G5. What did we see in the last game? We saw Bishop E3, right? Here we see Bishop G5. E6 pretty much the standard move nowadays. They also have Knight BD7, but E6 is a standard move. F4, Knight BD7, Queen F3. The ancient main line, Queen C7, long castle, and Bishop E7. Of course, B5 is also there, but very risky. Lance, I think there's stuff like, is it Bishop takes B5 or what? Or is it E5? I think it's E5.
I mean, you can play. You don't have to go into those complications there.
But I just want to remember, is it Queen H3 here? Takes. Then
it's still equal the position though.
Takes. I don't know if I'm lying here or something.
I think.
I don't know. I might be messing up lines, but it's
You're
something
messing
like
up,
this.
but I see the idea of on B5, but I don't think it's on immediately. But I mean, those are potential tactics. You don't want to be playing B5 so early.
I think it's possible B5, but there's a lot of lines here where white sacrifices a lot of pieces and ends up in a draw with correct play for both sides. So that's why nowadays people just play bishop e7 first, more solid.
I mean, another move here. Okay, it was played G4 is the normal move in the position.
G4, main line, yes. There's other moves like maybe bishop D3 as well. Bishop D3 is another idea. Or queen G3, I think, as well. G4, pawn to B5.
Okay,
and
let's go back again. Let's go back again.
Yeah.
After, what was it? G4?
Yeah, so after G4. Yeah.
I was thinking, maybe why wasn't the move H6 played here? I like the move H6.
I think H6 is a move. It's not the main move, but after bishop takes, what are you gonna play?
You can take with a bishop.
Yes, and then white usually goes H4, I think.
H4, then you play knight B6 in a position.
Okay, so this is, I think, what Grandmaster Dominguez has played before. I think some of his ideas is to go bishop takes knight eventually. But I'm not too sure now. I can't remember. This is probably... Is it just
but
G5?
I mean, it's just another possibility one can play.
What do you play after G5?
You have to capture, you have to capture.
On G5 or D4?
D4.
Takes. And then bishop D7 or something.
And then queen C5 maybe.
Okay. Looks like you know your stuff, Lance. I've seen this like a long time ago, but this is an alternative for black, actually. This is a decent alternative, I like. Definitely seems like you've done some research. But in general, white does enjoy a lot of space, though. So it's not so easy, let's say, something like this.
Yeah, it's not so easy. I mean, ideally, if you can just somehow just get your black king safe.
Yeah, but I think black's idea is to long castle, eh?
Yeah, but the other move, let's just go back quickly. Where will we now at? B5, G4.
But there's an interesting alternative instead of B5. I like it.
Yeah, instead of after H6, I mean, what do you play if bishop goes back?
Bishop goes back doesn't look right.
And then,
can you play G5?
System, by Brown. And Michael Tal also played this similar setup as well.
Yeah. So G5 also an interesting idea. You can play it a lot of times.
Capture over here. Let me just show you.
Yeah.
So I play G5, capture, then you play it there.
You think the queen moves.
There, and then that idea.
Okay, interesting. I think this is not the main position of that brown system, but something like this is possible.
Yeah, I mean, you could also play.
This looks cool. Looks cool. So. Oops.
Okay, no.
Yeah, this is a different line.
Back to the original move. B5. Okay. Yeah. I said A6 and then bishop goes back. Pawn takes. And then first, instead of taking there, first knight goes back in there and then, yeah. I mean, it depends. It's a matter of taste here. The reason why I like this is that knight on e5, it's difficult to get rid of that knight. And that knight keps the whole position.
Sometimes it can be a pawn sack even. Just a positional pawn sack.
It's a positional sacrifice. It depends as well. How do you feel about playing with a pawn down, but your pieces look better, healthier.
Yeah, no, in the Sicilian, you shouldn't shy away from pawn sacrifices, so definitely something that we can keep in mind over there. Let me just see if I can find more beats here, guys. In fact, let's just go back. To
I think we had b5, right? That was the move that was played in the game.
yeah, let me just find something here quick, just a second. Let's just play this again, guys. Let's just get this.
And it's quite interesting, Calvin. I wanted to ask you, like yourself personally in tournaments,
Yeah.
how many times have you encountered these types of sharp positions in like playing against top players? Do they go for these sharp positions, or do they stay clear of these positions? Or do you know?
Look, I haven't played the Najdorf that much. I have played it, but the guys usually enjoy these types of lines. It's much more freer to play it as a white. I would say it's easier to play for white than for black if you're not sure. If you don't know any theory, if you're just playing it off the bat, then it's easier to play for white because you just push your pawns and enjoy the space. For black, you need to time b4, you need to time d5, you need to watch out for this diagonal, looking at your rook on a8. So the guys are not shy to play this, and you'll get a lot of aggressive players. Shabir Baudin, he loves these long castling attacking lines. He's super dangerous in this. Watu also loves long castling. I think I played one game at the Drakenstein Rapid like 2 years ago. I won that one, but I lost one game against Michael James actually. If I recall, it was something like this. So Michael James also a guy that would play something like this, very aggressive stuff. So I think it's very popular. So this is one of the lines that you have to know. The bishop g5 stuff, you must have a system for it. Otherwise, you're in trouble. And going through example games is very important. So yeah. But anyways, let's just check out this game quickly. b5 takes. This is the main line. g5, the knight drops back. h4, not the main move. f5 is a pawn sack there. Black doesn't need to take it. But that's the main line, guys. But let's continue with this h4 a bit more slow. Black now immediately plays b4. Knight drops back. Bishop b7. Knight g3. Just have a feeling that white is playing a bit too slow, Lance. g6, h5, and long castle. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's typical.
Knight c5. Pressure on the e4 pawn. Queen e3 getting out of the diagonal, but the rook on h1 is still in the air. e5, that's why g6 is there to cover the f5 square. Knight f3, king b8, f5, and here comes our thematic thrust. d5 takes, bishop takes, f6, and here comes an abrupt end, guys. Here comes an abrupt end. Isvan was saying h3 after black's knight takes g4. Am I missing something? h3
what?
After black's knight takes g4.
h3.
I'm not too sure what you mean here, Isvan. If you can maybe be a bit more specific, because Isvan is saying h3 after black's, or BK, is BK black? After black knight takes g4.
Oh, maybe that was maybe before on another line, maybe. I'm not sure.
Perhaps. Yeah, it's just something else that I also wanted to show, Lance, but in any event, let's just show the end of the game. I want to come back to that heavy I think I maybe remembered something. But after f5, d5 takes, f6, white's taking more space. Black obviously can't play bishop d6 because of this. Black doesn't want to play bishop f8. But black goes ahead and surprises white, and instant resignation happens. Okay, this is a straightforward one. Rook on d1 is hanging.
I just want to know, this game, Calvin, was this in fact a rapid tournament?
What was this? Let's check. It was it was a Blitz game, 2019 Blitz game, Netherlands Blitz Championships. Okay, makes more sense that it was a Blitz game. After bishop takes a2 is resignation. It was after something like king takes, rook takes. White gets a second piece if he wants to, but then I think this would end up being losing your queen, because when a3 is the only legal move, the knight covering that square. So, but one thing that I just wanted to show, Lance, I think I remembered something in this other line that we said was so crazy. After b5, I said e5, bishop e7, queen h3, takes, queen takes. What do you do?
Oh, this is unclear. So
this is what I was talking about. Queen takes. You don't want to go king d8, so bishop e7, and then comes bishop takes b5.
Yeah, bishop takes. Yeah.
And then bishop takes f6. I think g takes is the move, and then knight takes b5. And this is what I was talking about. This is theory. I can't remember exactly what happens, but with correct play, I think it should be like a draw. So that's why this is too forcing. People have worked it out a lot, so that's why people, if you want to play, get more pieces going or get the game going, and bishop e7 is probably a better chance, because it's like
it's difficult to play unless you know your opponent. Well, it's almost like who's this guy in the Super GM tournament now, the last one in the candidates, Vashim Legraf,
yes.
Where this guy refuses to play something else. Maybe you can, if you're playing a player like that, I'm not saying you play it Super GM, but if you know this guy will play this line, doesn't matter what happened, and then this is a good idea to start preparing moves from this position.
Exactly, yeah. But okay, he's also gonna sit and prepare from his side, so it's gonna be a battle of preparation.
Exactly.
So interesting stuff.
You could also look at. We're not gonna discuss really the poison pawn, but because it's a very, very complex.
Yeah, very complex
variation. But if you feel like you up for things like that, then yeah.
This one is saying a bit earlier on h6. Far back. Shoo. Another line. Oh, okay. Maybe with the h6 line he was talking about.
Yeah. I was also saying that. I was saying that after that a6, and then he was. I think he was talking about if bishop goes back.
And knight takes g4. I'm not sure if knight takes.
No. You were saying this bishop back, and then let me just show you the position.
Oh, knight e5 and then knight takes g4 or
something.
Knight
e5, and then maybe queen over there and there.
Knight f takes g4.
He was maybe saying that. That's what he was saying.
Bishop takes pawn check, he says. When bishop takes pawn check.
Oh, black and bishop takes, but you're not going to play bishop takes pawn.
But the h1, the rook will be hanging. Maybe Isvan is seeing something that we're not seeing. Bishop takes check. Takes.
Yeah.
Some interesting tactics over here. Wow. Is that something, Lance? Maybe we must call this the Brown/Isvan variation. Interesting stuff if that is what you meant over there, but that looks quite cool.
But if you go back, if we just go back quickly.
Yeah.
After h3, you don't have to capture
you can play pawn takes g5.
This pawn takes in this position, and if you can somehow get this bishop for that knight, and then you've done well. Just imagine this position like that.
Pawn takes bishop. It's beautiful.
This is a beautiful position. Imagine bishop g5. That knight is a demon on e5.
Yeah. So yeah, there's this. This looks great for black.
And black will have no problem. Black will play bishop d7 and then long castle and then connect the rooks, and it's very playable. And then I don't know how white will tackle this knight on d5.
Yeah. So yeah, we saw two nice games here, guys. Two long castling games. One with bishop g5, one with bishop e3. But the short castling stuff is also there. Like I said, I prefer the short castling stuff, and there's plenty options there for both sides. So something to look at for this coming Sunday. Get yourselves ready. Yeah.
I would also say, Calvin, that there's a lot of games out there nowadays, very popular. A lot of people are playing the Najdorf, and you would find it in every Super GM tournament that there will always be a Najdorf game in it. You know what I mean? So it's something worth looking at. It's something fun, and it's modern as well. So there's a lot of games, and it's a very fun opening to play.
Yeah, no, definitely. Fun in any time control, basically. Let's rapid or long time controls. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
So
I just feel sometimes when I'm maybe playing in a tournament, if I somehow can just have like a something can just measure my heartbeat. I don't know exactly what you call it, but if
Yeah.
something can measure my heartbeat when I'm playing these aggressive lines, it will feel like I'm running on a treadmill.
definitely.
Because, some of these lines can be very sharp.
Yeah, I
Especially
think
the bishop g5 variation.
I think
Before, I just want to mention this one quickly. We didn't look at it.
yeah, sure.
Bishop.
I just wanted to say, I think with this opening, I mean, you can also time who you want to play with it. I would tend to play this type of sharp stuff against super strong players because they don't want to end up in this chaos. Maybe against weaker players, you would maybe not try to allow your opponent to get this type of counterplay. So yeah, just an idea there on a practical side. Queen b6 is a poison pawn variation.
Yeah, and this one is.
I mean, white can play knight b3 if he wants to, but
Yeah,
you can also allow the poison pawn.
Yeah, knight b3.
We saw that candidates like you mentioned, Caruana and NVL.
Yeah, it's amazing also that when you're following the openings, also some specific grandmaster maybe they like their opening, and you'll see a lot of it. So if you just follow this specific Super GM, and it's really nice. So you can find also nice ideas.
Exactly.
As well.
Isvan says, now what? Yeah, I mean, in the candidates, okay, just to briefly show you, this is possible. Knight b3 is possible. I think there was a, okay, now I was gonna say a Fischer game. Maybe there was, maybe not, but this is definitely possible with white playing bishop d3 and queen f3 and bishop d3 later on in long castling. Obviously, you lose some time playing the knight back, but you're avoiding this line. I think queen d2, queen takes, yeah. Kasparov also played some games here with black, but yeah, not the prettiest. I don't know a thing here in this line. White can go e5, white can go f5. Or yeah, Lance, maybe you have a better idea.
Well, he can even, I think, even play bishop e2 as well.
Bishop e2 as well.
I mean, there's a lot of moves that's playable in this position.
Yeah, no worries, Isvan. Yeah, we will share whatever we can. But all that I know, I definitely won't bite on that poison pawn. I will play something a bit more.
It depends if you are really clued up and you want to invest time. Maybe you've got a few years, available in a couple lockdowns maybe, and you're not going anywhere. Then the poison pawn would be a very interesting thing to study.
Yes, and then I mean it's also a matter of taste. If you don't mind being a pawn down and you like playing this for white, I mean you're attacking all the way. You just don't want your attack to fizzle out. On the other hand, if you don't mind grabbing a pawn and defending for the next 40 moves or 30 moves and surviving and then winning with the extra material, that's also possible. But yeah, it's sharp stuff all the way. But just my if you check out my games, if you filter my games, you will most likely probably see these type of moves and castle and stuff like this. F4, these type of setups, Lance, with or without a4, when you go for your short castle attacks. So yeah, but I think that's more or less our time. Lance, you probably also need to go soon, right? So
yeah, I also have to go soon.
I just want to thank the people that have been watching, and we will then start with our themed tournament this Sunday, 5 p.m. I will also send out something on Facebook, guys, in the SA Players group. So just watch out for that on specifics. But all you need to know is you need to just be part of the CKC team on Lichess. Everything is for free to join. We will analyze maybe a game or two of the subscribers' games after the event. So looking forward to it, and yeah, looking forward to see who is the sharpest in the Najdorf. So just thanks from my side to you, Lance, for joining us and discussing this evening. It's been fun. Yeah, any final words from your side?
No, enjoy your Friday, and I'm also looking forward to who will win the Najdorf tournament.
Yes. The first one as well. So yeah, lots to look forward to, guys. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks, Lance, and we will see you on Sunday. Cheers. See you, guys.